your home for high school football. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
And welcome back to the Thursday Night Football Show. We're broadcasting live from Baker's Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River. I don't know if it's still going on, but there was a serious power outage in the downtown Toms River area. Several of the traffic lights were out. Our building, which is right across the street from here, was out, but there's plenty of power at the Water Street Bar and Grill. So head on over and watch the Thursday Night Football game or the baseball playoff game tonight, if you wish. Each and every year we try and get this guy to come on with us during the course of the season. He is L.J. Clark, the head football coach of the Lakewood Piners, and we say to him, bring one of your better players. And he's had a lot of good ones to bring to us the last few years, and no question the young man who joins us tonight is among the best he's had, and that is Amir Tyler, an outstanding senior who is being highly recruited, and we'll kind of get into that. But as we say good evening to our friend L.J. Clark in his fifth season at Lakewood, you know, we were talking, Ed and I, we opened up about the weather last weekend. Well, let's ask you, because you guys played in one of only 2 games played in Ocean County, and I believe the only other game in the Shore Friday night that was played on a grass field, the Jackson Liberty. You seem to handle it pretty well.
You know, we've been trying to preach all year about adversity, and you know, the field conditions were tough, but like you said earlier, you know, both teams have to play on it, and you know, we just explained to the kids that, you know, even though that it's going to be wet and the fielding is going to be a little off, they have to play in it too. And, you know, it kind of fits our style. We run downhill. And, I mean, obviously with Amir having over 200 yards, I mean, people could say it didn't factor in. But it did at times. We slipped and stuff. But we just been preaching adversity this year. So we're just trying to overcome every adversity that comes our way.
Well, let me ask Amir, what was it like for you playing in these conditions? Listen, they're the home team. It was their choice to play. Obviously, they're an underdog. Probably feel like the great equalizer could be a bad condition. Maybe you fumbled the ball a few times. Did you want to play Friday night, and what was it like out there?
Oh, yes, we did want to play because, as you know, they came to our home and they had beat us after the mishap with our 3 players, you know. It was just us coming out and having revenge and just showing them what we're really about this year and how the team is going to be.
Amir, there's no doubt you are the leader of this team. You're averaging about 10 yards per carry. You picked up about 580 yards. You've scored 8 touchdowns on the year. Tell us about being the focal point, because you know all defenses come into the game wanting to stop you.
Well, I can't take all the credit. As you know, it's a team sport. So when my team comes to play, I just come to seal the cap and show them what we're really about.
You just what? Say that again?
I just come to seal the cap, just end the game for them.
I like it.
That's a good one, seal the cap. LJ, let's talk a little bit about your season. First of all, this is the bye week for you, so this was a good week to get you on because routine changes a little bit, but a 4-0 start, 4 conference victories, which I know is of utmost importance to you. Central, Pinelands, Manchester, and Jackson Liberty. And then when you get off this weekend, you'll come back with another B-South game the following week against Donovan Catholic. But you've really got to be pleased where you're at right now.
You know, we're pleased. It's a lot of teams in the Shore Conference that would like to be where we are, but we just got to continue to get better. I mean, you know, every week we've been trying to get better, and a lot of people don't know, but we're starting a lot of sophomores and freshmen. So every game, every experience that they get, you know, it's just an opportunity for us to get better. And I don't really worry about, you know, the other teams. I just worry about us. It's all about us. We have to continue to get better and just do the right things on and off the field, and I think everything will take you know, it'll have its own way at the end.
I do feel I have to ask you about your opener at Central. It was their second game. They had played that Week 0 game, but clearly they were the defending Class B South co-champions, and a lot of people picked them to win the division this year going in. Kind of a wild game, 40-34. I don't know, not a lot of defense played, but obviously some big offensive numbers. But that had to be the kind of win that gave your team a lot of confidence coming out of there.
Absolutely. I mean, again, we're up 21-6 at halftime, I believe, and we're just talking about adversity. They come right back as the champions would, and, you know, like I said, we have a lot of sophomores and freshmen, and they were just like, their eyes were so wide open, and, you know, our leaders, Elijah Gill, Amir Tyler, Jaquel Hunter say, hey, listen, we worked way too hard for this to let it slip. And then, my sophomore quarterback hit his twin brother for a big 40-something yard touchdown to pretty much, seal the deal for us. And, we were winded. The second half we were a little out of shape, and again, when you want to be the best, Central was the best last year in our division, and they came out swinging in the second half like the champions do, and we showed a lot of grit and a lot of determination to hold on, and I thought it was a very good character builder for us.
Amir, let's talk about that sophomore quarterback, Zaire Jones, who, going into the year you needed a quarterback, or maybe going into the summer you needed a quarterback. Chappelle Jones Cook on his way to Temple. You lost your quarterback. Tell us about Zaire and how he has stepped up to lead this offense.
Well, as you know, he's a real quarterback, and as Chappelle being a quarterback, I wouldn't say he's a real quarterback.
He's an athlete.
Yes, you can put him as that. But all he had to do was just step up and clean the plate, as I know he could, and he just showed everybody in the show what he could really do. And
tell us about his twin brother. What happened there? What was the pass? Give us the call in the huddle.
I think he gave him one of them little hip taps and just told him to go down.
Probably something he's done his entire life in the backyard, right?
Of course. And that's all it comes down to, though, as my team and as me being a captain, is just how everybody plays on and off the field, as us just playing together. As last year, we had a couple mishaps and stuff happened here and there, but we're trying to show everybody what Lakewood's really about, and we really do how we're following the program.
Okay, Amir, make believe the guy sitting next to you on your right's not here, okay? Kevin always likes to use this, so I'm going to use it before he says it. Tell us what L.J. Clark has done for the Lakewood program in 5 years, actually 4 and a few games this year. But what has he meant to this program?
I would have to tell you, he has meant a lot. He puts his heart and soul into this program. He gives us money, even though he doesn't have as much as he needs. He shows anything to any people who needs it, like as in love, as in coming to pick you up whenever you need a ride, starting practice, picking kids up that doesn't have transportation. He's just showing everybody that he really loves his program, and he's just going to leave it all on the field, just how we do.
And he's a Lakewood guy.
Oh, yeah, he is a
Lakewood grad.
He is.
That's nice.
It's one of the best, and you can only thing you could do that is appreciate the coach and the coaching staff that we have. As you know, we have a defensive coordinator, Jamil Jackson, and Coach Evans, and our basketball coach, Coach Brown, still comes out just to come and do the conditioning with us, of course.
I want to mention one other guy, LJ, Al Lemure, who works with your quarterback.
Let me tell you something.
If you needed somebody to step up on the quarterback, that's the guy to teach
Let me tell you something. Al Lemure is one of the most valuable coaches I've had. I mean, people kind of, I don't want to say sweep him under the rug, but, a lot of, look at the kids he's coached, Chappelle, Tyrese, Zaire. I mean, Al's been my longest assistant as I've been a head coach. And what he's doing right now with the sophomore quarterback is amazing. I mean, in years past, Chappelle and Tyrese, they've had to play defense. So, when we switch our defensive practice, where Al just coaches Zaire the whole practice. And he just, every day, Al brings his hard hat. Here's a guy from Brick, who grew up in Marlboro, who coached with Coach Wolf, came over with Coach Wolf, and actually stayed. And if you talk to Al, he'll tell everybody, with Lenny going back to Brick and everything, Al said, look, I'm a Lakewood guy. Yeah. He loves it there. He comes every single day, hard hat, busts his butt. And a lot of people don't know Al got really, really sick this summer, almost on his deathbed sick. And I called him up, and I said, hey, man, if you need anything, first words out his mouth was like, I'll be ready to go. Don't worry about it. I'll be ready to go.
Coach Al.
He literally came off his hospital bed and came to the mom of 7-on-7. And when you got dedication, when you got a guy who has has his own son who plays in college and no strings attached to the program and puts that much effort in, as a young coach, it only makes you want to go harder and put in just as much work as he did.
Really well said, and I think you would agree. And Amir talked about it. You deal with a lot of adversity, and you deal with issues that maybe most other coaches don't, and they're not always easy. But it takes a special person to stick with you as a coach. So your staff, those guys are very important, because I'm sure most of them would have had opportunities to go somewhere else. But without that kind of loyalty on your end, you can't get this done.
I mean, absolutely. What we preach every day is family and team. and it goes with the coaches. I mean, my offensive coordinator, Evan Bobbles, he was the defensive coordinator at Asbury, they were top 10 in the Shore in defense. He brings so much more to the table than just an offensive mind. I mean, he washes the uniforms with me. He picks kids up. I mean, we go half on pizzas for the offensive lineman. He's the offensive line coach. I mean, he's so much more than just a coach. You know, when you coach at Lakewood, you wear so many different hats. You know, you're a father figure for a lot of these kids. And like you said, we have to deal with other stuff that other programs don't have to deal with. I mean, Jameel Jackson was a great football player. He started at Rutgers for 4 years. He comes all the way down to Lakewood. He drives an hour and a half from Willenboro every single day to work in the building and coach with these kids. You know, Tim Brown's a basketball guy. Never played football a day in his life, but he's a Lakewood guy, and he digs in every day, comes along. I mean, I got Kyle Watson, another brick guy who was a great player in his mind, works hard. I mean, we got so many coaches that they could go, like you said, like, you know, I can't knock Lenny. This is his lifelong dream to be the brick coach. And I was the first one, and he came to me and I was like, man, you better take it. You know, like. Your
reference, by the way, Len Zdanowicz, your former assistant who's now the head coach.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a great guy. He calls all the time. He comes to the games. He watches Amir. I mean, he coached Amir. He coached Chappelle. He follows all those kids. And, you know, just a little tidbit on him, a classy act by him is when he got the job, the first thing he did was come back to Lakewood and say goodbye to all the players. You know, and he roots for us, and we root for them. Yeah. So, I mean, it takes everybody. It's not just me. I mean, everybody says, oh, LJ, you know, you changed the program. No, it's the players, man. I mean, they're what makes me go.
We just following your program.
No, man. I'll follow the good Lord's program.
Amir. Notice how I said that? I said it like the coach says it. Amir. I've been calling it Amir, but it's Amir.
It really doesn't matter.
I know.
It's Mr. Tyler to you.
Mr. Tyler to me, yeah, exactly.
Well, his nickname is Prime Time.
Prime Time, okay. Can't beat that. You guys have been the road warriors. This is your third game in a row on the road. Manchester, Jackson Liberty, and now Donovan Catholic. Another tough opponent in the B-South. Tell us a little bit about the preparation for Donovan Catholic and a little bit about them.
Well, as of right now, Donovan Catholic has a good player. I've played with him my whole life as David Calderon. He has. But we had a whole bye week to focus on this, and I can't really say no disrespect to Donovan Catholic, but I'm just saying there's no way that we can lose unless we beat ourselves. Mm-hmm. Our defense is prepped. We have offensive, defensive days. Then we have special teams days, conditioning days. It's just everything in order. And if we follow the program, everything should go just as the coach planned.
Tell us how you've handled the bye week this week. Not playing this week, you know. Take it easy a few days early, and now you're getting back into it?
No, never.
No,
okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
He's been working us hard. Just as we had a game this week. That's just how he's working us. And we just trying to – everybody on the team is just trying to get what they need to get done in order for us to get what we want to be. And as you know, we want to be a champion.
You want to be B-South champions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, Amir, let's ask you a little bit. And you were one of the cover players on our Shore Sports Network football preview, one of the, what do they call them, the Fantastic Four. Which one were you, by the way?
I think I was the girl. I got the girl.
Oh, did you really? That's disrespectful.
It's all right. I'm going to show y'all something.
But obviously, you know, we've heard that, you know, schools are certainly interested in you. Where are you at in the recruiting process right now?
As of right now, I haven't chosen which one I want to pick because I haven't taken any official visits. I have took unofficial visits. But as of right now, I would take the official visit this weekend at Temple University, and just to go see my brother Chappelle. And I still haven't went up to Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, Monmouth, West Virginia too, Old Dominion. But this is one of the biggest choices of your life, and I'm just trying to enjoy the recruiting process as you should.
Now, are you being recruited mainly as a defensive player or both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I would have to say it's half and half.
Okay. Do you have a preference?
Not yet.
So it comes down to you is that you want to find the school that you like. That's where you'll go.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Nice to have choices. Looks like you're going to have some pretty good options.
Hopefully.
LJ, I want to ask you in the couple minutes we have left. You have never shied from saying that the one player who really helped turn your program was Tyrese Beverett. How much he meant to your program, the school and the community. And I think Amir is probably a product of that, as that was a young man that he looked up to as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, to this day, Tyrese still calls Amir and says, like, hey, you better be doing the right thing. Or, anytime Tyrese comes around our program, people stop and look at him like, And I talk to Ty a lot, and everything he's getting right now is because he's done it the right way his whole life. And, Tyrese has made me a better person. I just look at him and say, like, wow, man, like, look at the way this kid, even coaching him. Like, he goes so hard at practice. And his college coach called me because they offered to Amir too. And they like Elijah Gill. And he was
we're
saying
talking
to me,
Stony Brook.
Yes, Stony Brook.
Yep.
And on top of his locker, it says NFL or Wall Street. And his coaches say, like, if he gets a B in his class, like, he makes the dean's list all the time, and he gets a B, he gets, like, violently upset. But that's the type of drive and motivation he has. And, he had a very good game last week. He had 14 tackles, a forced fumble, and a monster hit on the kickoff. And I texted him, good game. And I said, keep good working hard. And he said, I got to make it. I have no choice but to make it. And I said, all I want to see it on the couch on draft day. And he texted me back. He's like, come on, coach, you got a seat. So it's good. I mean, all my boys, it's funny. I got a lot of T-shirts. I got Temple T-shirts. I got Villanova T-shirts. I got Keene. I got Wesley. I got Monmouth. I got Wagner. It's just that's the main goal of Lakewood. And it should be for any coach. It's just to get these young men, to teach them how to be young men and get them to that next level so they can prepare themselves for life and actually, put food on their family's table and just better themselves. And I want all my kids to be better than I was. And, I think that's just been the key is that, I love these boys like they're my own kids. And, every single kid I've had, like you said, I brought up here, has had different characteristics. I mean, like you guys say, Amir, top athlete in shore, this, that, and third. But his biggest attribute is that his heart is probably as big as his whole chest. He's one of the most loving kids I've ever seen in my life.
He's got a heck of a smile, too, man. He likes to smile.
It's tough to get mad at him. He's got a good heart. The Barksdales and his family done a very good job raising him. And, he's just been through a lot, and he never, ever is he ever down. Like every day he comes to my office and tells me he loves me. And it's not like a funny or a joke thing. He really truly means it. We're at Jackson Liberty last week. It's pouring down rain, and the kids, after we say the speech, they sprint to the bus. Here's a kid that had 214 yards rushing, two touchdowns, and 14 tackles.
First guy in the bus.
No, he's carrying the water jugs and the water bottle. And he told the freshman, "Don't worry about it. Just go ahead. I got it."
Wow.
And that's the little stuff that's underlooked. Like, we see the great athleticism, but it's the little things that I pick up on,
LJ,
I'm fortunate.
By
blessed.
the way, before you leave, congratulations are in order, right? Fairly newly married, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes, yes.
With a few trips to Disney. You are a man of my own heart. I love Disney.
I just want to, my wife, Dominique, she's the best, man. She
Did you tell her she had 40 sons right off the bat?
No. She cooks, her and my mother, every Thursday or before the game, they cook pasta for the boys.
Okay.
And I just, my wife, she's learned how to be a football wife. When not to talk to me, when talk to me. So to answer your question, that's the reason we go to Disney so much.
There you go.
Because that's her reward. But she's great. She's great with the kids. My son, it's hysterical. My two sons, this is their two favorite players. My oldest is Tyrese, and my youngest son Dante loves Amir. So every week I ask him, how many touchdowns is Amir going to score? And he was like, versus Central. He said, he's going to score 4. And I'm like, all right. And then he scored 4 touchdowns. So we might be on to something there.
Well, you know what? Ed and I have said this on many occasions. There can't be a better fit anywhere than to have you at your alma mater. I know you mean so much to the program. And, I hear you, and then I hear Amir talk about you. And, success is not necessarily always wins and losses. There's a bigger picture, although the W's are nice, right?
I tell you what, the W's are very nice.
Can't go wrong with them.
I tell you what, though, the relationships make it so much better. Like when I saw Tyrese's face when I went to visit him was priceless.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about, man.
Big games down the road. Donovan Catholic a week from Friday. Then Rumson, non-conference, very interesting game. Barnegat, and the final day of what we'll call the regular season before at Point Pleasant Borough, a very good chance that game will be for, if not the outright B-South title, at least a piece of it. Amir, you'll be ready, right?
Of course.
Yeah, never a doubt.
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate you guys coming down.
Thank
Always
you so
good to
much.
see
We're just
L.J.
blessed.
Clark and Amir Tyler. Hang on 1 second. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be chatting with Raritan coach Anthony Petruzzi. You're listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.
Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River is the ultimate sports bar. With 32 HD TVs, Water Street brings you all the action of every football game. Located right on the water, Water Street is the perfect place to enjoy the finest views of the shore. Whether you want to grab a few drinks with friends, catch your favorite game, eat a delicious meal, or enjoy live entertainment every Friday and Saturday nights, Water Street is the place for a good time. Located across from Huddy Park on Robbins Parkway in downtown Toms River. Visit them at bakerswaterstreet.com.
Discover a new world of savings during the Columbus Day sale going on now at Sansone Jr.'s 66 Auto Mall.
I know a good sale when I see one, and this is one you don't want to miss.
You're right, Chris. Plus, during our Columbus Day sale, we have dozens of financing options with guaranteed credit in 15 minutes or less. Or take advantage of our exclusive rent-to-own program. Call 855-66 Auto Mall or visit us online at 66automall.com.
At Sandstone Junior 66 Auto Mall, we work hard to make car buying easy.
At Jersey Mike's, we know busy lives and dinner don't always mix. But by making a sub above, we help make time for dinner time. With cold subs on warm nights and hot subs grilled for cool evenings. It's a really well-made meal, de-stressed. It's something really good, shared simply. It's a delicious dinner time in the bag. Jersey Mike's, be a sub above.
For the latest high school football news, visit shoresportsnetwork.com. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
Well, we make the quick switch from the Pioneers to the Rockets. Raritan High School's off to a very fast 3-0 start. A big one tomorrow night when they host Red Bank in one of the bigger games of this weekend. Their head coach is Anthony Petruzzi. Is good enough to give us a few minutes on the eve of a big one. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the great start. I know it's got to make everyone feel pretty good about Rocket football these days.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, we're excited about it, and the town's been behind us, the school district's been behind us, the kids are excited about it. The fans have been great, so it's definitely been an exciting time in Hazlitt.
And it had to be big for you on opening weekend to go into Manasquan and beat them and get that W against a premier program, get you off to a fast start, right?
Absolutely. It's been a place that we struggled. We brought a lot of good teams down there, and we haven't come back with a W. So, this team, being able to go down there and get a victory and start our season off in the right direction was definitely big. It was good for our confidence, and we've been trying to use it, each step of the way. Each win, you build a little bit more, and you get, you learn new lessons from every game. So we're just trying to handle each one now, as they come. And our schedule doesn't get any easier, and we, like you said before, we have a big one this week with Red Bank Regional.
Coach, I was going to ask you about your schedule because if you stacked up all the schedules of the teams in the Shore, Middletown South's got a real tough one, but your schedule, according to what the other teams on it are doing this year, is probably one of the toughest in the Shore. How do you feel about that? I mean, coming up, you got Red Bank undefeated. You got St. John Vianney undefeated. You got Point Pleasant Borough undefeated. You've got an outstanding Rumson team that only has one loss. That's a tough schedule.
Well, listen, guys, we've been doing it for several years now.
Exactly.
It's been a gauntlet. We've had some teams that weren't able to step up to it. We were outmanned, outmatched. I think the last couple of years we've learned to be competitive and play up to those teams' levels and make games of it. And the message was this whole entire year and through our first three and moving forward is that we're capable of executing, we're capable of winning football games, and we think we can compete with the top teams in the Shore Conference. I know you reminded me of who we got down the road, but we're focused right now.
You're focused on one this week, and that's Red Bank, right? Last year, 5-5, and your comment in the preseason I loved because it said We must prove to ourselves we can win and be able to take the next step up. Explain that.
I think when you comment on the teams that we play, the next step up is, being able to compete in our conference. You play state championship teams.
Yes.
You play, coming out of our division in the Shore Conference. I would stack up with any section, in New Jersey. And if we want to consider ourselves to be a championship football team, it's got to come from the division first, and let that momentum, move into the playoffs and move into the sectionals. So taking the next step meant, we need to go and win at Manasquan. Taking the next step meant we need to beat Matawan. Taking the next step meant we had to come back, and beat a Frio Borough team who beat us last year. And we needed to prove to ourselves that we can win these games. And, Red Bank is just the next one on the schedule.
All right, let me ask you about this outstanding running back of yours by the name of Derek Ernst, who's really off to a very fast start for you and has been so productive week in and week out.
Yeah, Derek is a kid you want to be around. He's got a great personality. He's worked his tail off, throughout the off season. He came in as a sophomore. We knew he was a guy that was going to be a football player because he was natural. But I can't tell you that I can't tell you that I knew that he was going to be able to do the things on the varsity level and transform himself into the player that he is, today. He hasn't reached his ceiling. There's still a lot of stuff that we're working with. There's still a lot of things that he knows that he's got to make improvements on. But the one thing you could take to the bank is that Derek Ernst is going to be ready to play football on Friday nights. So he's been pretty special, and he's been a guy that we've jumped on his back a little bit here, in the first couple games.
I think he was our Shore Sports Network Player of the Week this week.
Yes,
he was.
He was the Player of the Week and a second-team All-Shore last year selection at running back in a conference, with 43 schools that's loaded with outstanding running backs. Okay, let's talk about Red Bank a little bit, Coach. They play some pretty good offense, but I believe the strength of the Red Bank team is defensively. Would you agree?
When you look at what they do, and again, their offense scares you because it comes from a lot of different places. They have a lot of playmakers. I feel guys that could that stand out on film. But defensively, like you said, so far, as a team, they run to the football. They work well with each other. They believe that you can see that there's a belief on their side of what they're doing, what they're being coached to do. And I think Coach Giglio has always done a great job, with his teams. I'm glad to see them having success this year because they're a team that the way they played and the way they play in the past, that's a team that you kind of root for. So it's not surprising to me that they're having success, and it's not surprising to me that they're moving on all cylinders right now.
When you win your first three games, and it clearly looks like you're getting better. Manasquan, then a very impressive win over Matawan, and then a Frio Borough team that is certainly quality team. And you've got three pretty good wins under your belt. Does it change the goals for the season at all, or is it what you wanted to do in July and August hasn't changed one bit now that we're in October?
No, our goals have been the same. Each week is another chance to kind of prove ourselves, in our schedule. And like you said, if we have the opportunity, to be lucky enough to go out and execute tomorrow night and win a football game, then we have another test the next week and another test the week after that. So, our goal right now is to kind of keep winning, keep what we've done in the past, behind us. To a certain extent, build confidence from it, but understand that we have to refine ourselves every week, as we move forward.
Well, it's all been good. I know you have definitely generated a lot of interest among the student body at the school. They're really into it, and you'll have a big one tomorrow night when you host Red Bank, a 7 o'clock kickoff at your home turf. Coach Petruzzi, we appreciate you giving us a few minutes tonight. Wish you nothing but the best the rest of the way.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Good talking to you. There's Anthony Petruzzi. I happen to like the young man. They're all young compared to us. But he's been very involved with the Shore Football Coaches Foundation the last couple of years. Does a great job. I'm glad to see him get rewarded with some W's for his program.
Yeah, we see him every summer at the All Shore Classic. Big part of it. And you're right. I think both programs, they're so ironic. They're so the same, these two
exactly
teams.
In a way, yeah.
They've struggled for so long while they've been at their schools that they are now both taking the next step up.
Now, that game tomorrow night, clearly one of the biggest games of the weekend, and our Bob Batters from the Shore Sports Network will be there covering that game, and hopefully Bob is on the phone with us, and we can say good evening to him. Bob, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
And you probably just heard Coach Petruzzi, no doubt marquee matchup tomorrow night. I don't know if we would have all circled it on the calendar back on Labor Day weekend, in week 5 or week 4, whatever you want to call it, one of the games to watch, Red Bank Raritan. But here we are, battle of the undefeated.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of the schedule. You look at it in the preseason, you kind of define what you think of the big games are. And for the most part, those games hold true, but you get some surprises here. And we have one this week. 2 undefeated teams. Red Bank now 4-0 for the first time in over a decade. Raritan's 3-0 as well. Both teams with impressive wins. So I think that's going to be a really good game and a pretty fun atmosphere. I mean, that's the biggest game. It's a non-divisional game, but I think that's the biggest game. Those teams have played in a while. I think just because the caliber of opponent and like you guys were saying, where the programs have been in recent years. So it should be a fun atmosphere.
Bob, of course, our game that we're doing tomorrow night, Jackson at North, we talked a little bit about that, is a big one. But another big one in that ever-challenging B-South, Point Borough, undefeated at Central. Huge game. I think the loser there, I don't know if Borough loses it, they're eliminated. But if Central loses it, they are eliminated.
Well, yeah, Central has to win this game because, 2 division losses, in pretty much any division, and you're going to be out of it. And Central already with that loss to Lakewood, and as you said, Point Borough undefeated overall and in the division. A loss there, wouldn't take them out of it because they still play Lakewood later in the year. But you're right, nonetheless, a big game. I think this game is going to be a big challenge and a referendum on Point Borough's defense because they were great last season, a top 6 or 7 defense, I believe, in the Shore points per game. This year they've been great as well. But you have a running back on their side, Mike Bickford, who's coming off a huge game, 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also ran a kickoff back for a touchdown on an onside kick. And, quarterback Mike Miserandino is a big-time dual threat as well. So it's going to be a big test for Point Borough's defense because, look at Central. They lost to St. Javiani, but, that's the number 3 team in the Shore. And the loss to Lakewood, they came out, as Coach Clark was saying before, they came out and played strong in the second half and lost the shootout.
Yeah, Point Borough's
defense. It's going to be an interesting matchup there.
Yeah, Point Borough's defense has only allowed 19 points in 4 games. So I think this really one comes down to can Point Borough's defense control Bickford and the Central offense. So we'll see about that one. Bob, the game we're doing tomorrow night, Toms River North and Jackson, it's kind of – this is a true elimination game. They both have an A-South loss. There's no way you're getting a piece of the championship, I don't think, with 2 losses in the conference. So both teams come in kind of desperate tomorrow night.
Absolutely. I mean, you have that aspect of it, certainly. If you want to win the division title, or in this case, just keep yourself in contention, if Brick, who's now the team, took the foot up. But, you have a Jackson team that's going to be pretty angry coming in off that loss, especially considering the conditions and the way that game was. And the Toms River North team that's been very, very good lately. They refocused pretty quickly after that big loss to Brick Morla in week 2. So, you have, 2 very good teams, 2 teams that, we had ranked highly in the top 10 to start the season. Both are still in it now, and this could be an excellent game. I think both teams are going to play very, very hard, knowing what's on the line.
Bob, the same scenario has been set for the Dragons of Brick. They get an overtime, I'm talking 2014 now. They get an overtime victory against Jackson, and then they play Wall, and they lose 28-27 in 2 overtimes. Can the same thing happen tomorrow?
I mean, I doubt it. Nothing against Wall, but this is a Brick team that is obviously rolling. They've had 6 points all year, which is to Brick Morrow, which is only averaged 48 points a game after that. So they've been unbelievable defensively. They've gotten the job done, and those players that are seniors now, the Jordan Keefes, the Dan Finellis, the senior leaders like that who went through that, that slip up against Wall. they have some revenge on their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And, Wall, of course, without quarterback Matt Cooley. So that's going to really be tough for them to consistently move the ball, I think, against that Brick defense. So, for that to happen again, obviously we'd all be pretty shocked, especially the way Brick is playing now.
Yeah, that loss last year basically gives Len Zdanowicz his pregame speech for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
I don't think motivation is going to be hard to find in that locker room.
I agree. Bob, I just want to ask you about one other game. Middletown North, which was our Jersey Mike's Team of the Week last week, hosting Ocean in a battle of 3-1 non-conference games. That looks like a good one on paper.
It really does, absolutely. I mean, Middletown North coming off one of the biggest wins the program has had. You'd have to say the biggest win the program has had in a while. I mean, knocking off from an Alpine team that's defending sectional champion, and everyone who follows short conference football know what that program means, and doing it really without their best player in Chad Freshnock, the outstanding running back and also linebacker who's been injured. So, and they end Manalapan's 33-game Class A North winning streak. So the Lions come in hot, and Ocean. After that loss to Red Bank, they played very well. When Tyler Thompson's on, that's a really tough team to beat. So that's going to be a good one. I mean, we'll see. The Lions defense, they played pretty well against the run of Manalapan, and we'll see what they do against Thompson and Ocean.
That's Bob Batters. You can follow him tomorrow night as he will be at Red Bank Raritan, having scores throughout the night on Twitter. And you can also, of course, always check on our website, shoresportsnetwork.com. Bob, thanks so much. We'll talk to you over the weekend.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right. Bob Batters does a great job for us and goes on his way. I mean, so, we really, if you think about it, not to take anything away from other games, there's 4 really meaningful football games.
Yeah.
Middletown North Ocean, Red Bank Raritan, North and Jackson, Central Point Borough. Some are division games, some are non-division games, but all 4 of those are pretty good.
It's somewhat – I'm not surprised by any of those teams except for one. Can you think of it? Middletown North, exactly.
Yeah.
Mainly because, not that they've been so successful at 3-1, but they've done it without their star running back, Chad Freshnock. I mean, he's been in and out of the lineup, and unofficially, this is a tough injury that he's with right now. So, been a big surprise for me.
Well, no surprise with the number 1 team is the Shore. When we come back after this break, we'll be chatting with Steve Antonucci of Middletown South. Coming up after this, you're listening to the Thursday Night High School Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.